Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Just to let you know, there's still some people joining, so there's people still joining at the moment, so we'll just give another 1 minute and we'll get things kicked off. Thanks. How are we doing, Jamie? Will we get started, we think, or we'll give it another minute?
Yeah, I think a good start.
Yeah, we'll get started.
Yep.
Okay to go?
Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining our webinar this afternoon on why we are recommending that our customers upgrade from NAV to Business Central. So some introductions. My name is Eileen Primrose. I'm the Head of Dynamic Sales within KIK, and along with my colleagues Lee and Eilish, we are your account management team. And it's probably worth just pointing out that each of us previously worked as implementation consultants for various business systems. So we use that experience that we have to offer any advice and help that we can. And this is our agenda for the session, which we should probably take us around 45 minutes to an hour to go through. First of all, we're going to start off by looking at the reasons on why our customers are upgrading. Lee is then going to provide a demonstration of Business Central, showing its new modern look and feel and some of the great new features it has. Eilish will then walk us over the options and incentives for upgrading, and then we'll look at the methodology, which is a process that we have to guide our customers through upgrading. And then you should see that there's a questions section on the webinar. So please feel free to post any questions that you have in there, and we can cover off the questions at the end. Okay, so let's look at the reasons on why customers are upgrading to Business Central. And here we have 5 of the main reasons that we're seeing, and we can have a look at each one of these in turn. So with cloud technology, customers can run businesses, can run their business anywhere, so it offers far more flexibility. With the pandemic, the way that we are working has changed, and many of our customers were then and still are, in fact, working from home. So we've seen an increase in demand now for customers wanting to move their systems onto the cloud. The cloud version of Business Central is called Business Central SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. And this version can be accessed using any internet-enabled devices such as laptops, tablets, mobile phones. It's also hosted and managed on Azure, which is Microsoft's cloud platform, meaning there is no need to purchase any physical servers or any other licenses, as that's all included when you move to Business Central. You literally just need to have a login and a password, and you can use the system, as I say, in any of these devices from anywhere at any time. And Microsoft now have a new modern lifecycle policy, which means that they provide monthly updates of the system. So there is a monthly update plus 2 major releases each year. That's one in April and then one again in October. So all of the customers that we have on SaaS are always on the latest version and therefore always using the most up-to-date version of the system with all the new functionality and legislative type changes that provides. And Business Central is just now part of the Microsoft 365 platform, which most of our customers are already using. So things like integration with Excel, Outlook, and the Power Platform all now just come as standard within the system. And part of that Power Platform contains a product called Power BI, and this is a tool that can be used within Business Central for these type of KPI dashboards and visualizations. People on the SaaS version, it's much easier now for them to be able to analyse and visualise data. And shortly, Lee will be taking us through a demonstration of some of these examples that we've created in our demonstration version of Business Central. And another key reason that customers are upgrading is to avoid the risks shown here of being out of support. The table on the right hand side here shows each versions of NAV and the support dates for each of the versions. Microsoft's old lifecycle policy for NAV spanned 10 years, which was split into 5 years for mainstream support that you can see there, and then another 5 years of extended support. Mainstream support means that Microsoft provide things like new releases, new features or updates, or for particular legislative changes like we've seen with MTD. They'll also provide service pack, diagnostic tools, and we also can get help and technical support from Microsoft if in the unlikely event that we had to go back to Microsoft themselves. Whereas extended support only provides bug fixes and security fixes, but no other new features or legislative changes. And then, as you can see there, the product after 10 years becomes out of support, which means Microsoft provide no updates or no support at all on the product. So you can see here that NAV 5 and NAV 2009 are now completely out of support, which carries risks. And Microsoft are very focused on security at the moment, and they are starting to retire older products that have any kind of security vulnerabilities. And earlier this year we had an issue where with the end of life of a protocol, which is a TLS 1.0 security protocol, some of our customers that were using older versions of NAV that were using Spindle and Continia add-ons had issues with that protocol being retired. So they started getting errors in their system, and Kik had to carry out some emergency upgrades of these apps, which unfortunately resulted in some downtime of the system. Just on that, recently we also received this update from Microsoft saying that from the 1st of October, Microsoft are turning off basic authentication for various communication protocols. So this means that any user, app or script or integration that's using this basic authentication for one of the affected protocols will report an error, and that's the error that will be reported. And unfortunately, the only way that we probably be able to fix that particular error is by doing again an upgrade of the system, and we don't want to get into the situation where we have to do that in any kind of emergencies. And And another reason that customers are looking to move to cloud is because it certainly reduces the cost. The SaaS version of Business Central runs on Microsoft Cloud, as we mentioned before. So there's no need to have your own servers, or and the system can be far more easily deployed. It can be done quickly. One of our largest customers, who have lots of offices throughout Europe, have recently upgraded from NAV to Business Central, and have now decommissioned all of the servers and operating systems they required for running NAV, removing all this cost. And then with the 2 automatic updates each year, it means that you're always on the latest version of the software, so you never become out of date. So no more expensive upgrades after moving onto Business Central with the SaaS version. Plus, Microsoft take care of the environment, so all the investment for things like backups and security is something that's catered for by Microsoft, again, saving that cost. And just so that you know, the Business Central is just a newer version of NAV, so it's much of the same functionality, but more run in a more modern way. So your existing data, customizations and reports are all migrated, plus your existing day-to-day processes kind of just largely remain the same. So that's good to know that there's all of that familiarity there, albeit that you would be moving on to a much more modern platform. So I'm now going to hand over to Lee, and Lee is going to take you through a demo of Business Central. Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Aileen. Thank you. Okay, Jamie, can you make me presenter, please? Great. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. Just now what we're looking at, this is effectively what Business Central looks like. So just now it's sitting in a browser, so it's browser based. So just to show you, this is just Chrome I'm sitting in. I'm just going to refresh my screen so you can see that, and you'll see it just reappear. So basically I've already logged in to the system. When you log in, it's going to ask you for a username and a password. I can also use 2-factor authentication. So obviously when you're using a cloud system, you can use it on any device as long as you have an internet connection. So there's more security around sort of 2-factor, so that obviously to get into the system, it can force a code via the user's phone. So just now, what I'd like to point out as we go in, if I go into my settings, I'm logged on as a business manager. So Business Central is very much role-based, and there's different roles in the system. So I've got a business manager, I've got accountants, I've got sales and relationship managers, right through to order processors. So depending on the role that you're assigned will depend on how your landing page looks. If I go to my company, those are multiple companies, you can obviously still select different companies and log in as required. But just now, I'm logged on as a business manager. So what does the business manager see from default? Well, I've got menus at the top. So I'm using the KIK Business Central demonstration system. A business manager can look at finance. So a lot of the areas I'm going to sort of cover, you were quite familiar with. You've got your general journals, chart of accounts. Those who use fixed assets, you've got that option in there. MTD compliant, you use your VAT returns, your VAT statements, your dimensions, currencies. So everything you would expect on the main finance. Cash management side, if you don't have a version that can do it, Business Central can do flash cash flow forecasts. We've got our bank account reconciliations, payment journals, cash street journals, sales side, customers, sales orders, items, and purchasing side. On this system, I've got my purchase orders, my quotes, my vendors, everything you would expect for a business manager to access. So these are just sort of quick menus for the business manager to access. And down below here, you can actually create your own menus. So for instance, if I want quicker access just to customers, I don't want maybe click on sales and then click on customers. Well, I've just put a shortcut there, click on customers, and it will just then start listing my customers page. The customer page itself, this is obviously a test system, so we've got some photographs of the customers. You don't obviously have to have that. You can just change this to list, and it'll just list the customers most likely as you'd expect. But if you want to, you have these layout options where you can change to tall tiles or lists as you require. So I've got off the customers vendor. So these are quick shortcuts. Now it might be that I want to add more items in to this menu down here. So what I've got this magnifying glass, which is my tell me option. And this is basically the global search, which you might be familiar with within Nav. So if I say payment, let's see, payment registration. Register customer payments. So this option here, I want this option. This might be something used regularly, but I don't want to search for it all the time. So what I can do is I can bookmark it by clicking that option there. And what you'll notice is that it now appears. So now I have quick access to that functionality, to that function. Click on register customer payments, click OK. This is a new feature which you probably don't see, you've maybe not got in Nav, where when you want to quickly go through a bank statement and say, okay, yep, customers paid that, I can see that, I can see that, I can see that, and just post it rather than through a cash receipt journal. So that's just another new bit of functionality there. But I won't post that just now. But as we scroll down, you've got different activities and different queues. So it tells me here just now, it just highlights sales this month, £4,000. If I click on it, it's just going to show me the invoices which made up that £4,000 for the sales. Overdue sales invoices, quick look at them, and I've got 2 overdue sales invoices, totaling roughly £9,000. Overdue purchase invoices, again, so I should have done a payment run, all these are well overdue, and it just shows me a quick list there, so I don't have to go looking for that. With Business Central, you get a lot of the functionality is familiar. So as Aileen said, you can, you've got all your processes and all your journals and how you create dimensions, but there is a lot of new functionality. Some you may use, some you may not. One interesting one is it's got some business intelligence, artificial intelligence, if you like. And one of the key ones is sales invoice predictions. I'll show you sort of a wee example of that, of how we can predict as a customer when you pay or not, as we go through. So what we've got here, these tiles, again, just quick access. I've got 2 ongoing sales quotes, 12 sales orders, 10 own purchase orders, 20 outstanding invoices. But if I go into sales orders, so there's a list of my sales orders. One of the bits of functionality I was talking about is payment prediction. So this order here for Bob's Building Supplies, we've put through an order of 100 of these bicycles. But what the system can do, if you wanted to use it, is actually predict if they will pay you. So if I click on predict payment, the system will tell me, oh, the payment is predicted to be late, and it's medium, and it's got medium confidence in that prediction. So how does it know this? If I maybe check another one, so this one below, Canning Group, and again, let's go to predict payment. Now this one's different. It predicts it to be on time. It's not that confident, but it thinks, well, it should be on time. And what it's doing here, there's a setup for late payment prediction where it uses a standard model and it uses algorithms to work out, based on history of the customer, in terms of how they pay you. For those who are data modelers, you can also set up your own data models and put in your own algorithms, if you like, to work all this type of thing out, sort of create your own model. So there is artificial intelligence, business intelligence built in, because this is the way modern systems are going. It's harnessing cloud technologies, it's harnessing the power of Azure, the cloud servers to predict and do these type of models. Because you can also do cash flow forecast predictions, you can also do stock forecast predictions. So it's just nice, it's nice functionality bringing you into the sort of modern age. Scrolling down, because it's still integrated to Microsoft, it's a Microsoft platform. When you send emails from the system, so this system, I know some versions of Nav, you can't email. You can email in here, statements, remittances, batch email invoices, it's all available. When you send out emails, it'll tell you here if anything failed, and it'll tell you what you sent within the last so many days. You don't have to go out the system and look for it. Approvals. Now the system, because it's a Microsoft system, it works with different add-ons within the Microsoft suite, and one of them is the Power Platform. And within that Power Platform, one of them is called it was called PowerFlow. So basically, what that is you're allowed to set up approvals for a typical one would be purchase orders, where different users can have a limit, and if they create a purchase order and they break that limit, the system will not allow them to go any further with the purchase order. They have to request approval. So for instance, they're going to a purchase order. If I go into this one, and what they have to do is they have to send an approval request, because if they break, if they can't, don't have the limit, that would then send an email to their approver. Or if it's used, you can set up to do chain approval, so you have to go through, multiple approvers. And once it's approved, there's an email comes back in to tell the user that it's now been approved. So approvals is just part of the system. So you can approve, sales quotes, set up approvals for quotes, for orders, for purchase orders. You can set up approvals for journals if you want. If someone's posting a journal over a certain value, you can again ask for it to be approved before they can post it. As well as setting up customers or vendors, you can also set up approvals within that. So approval workflow is part of Business Central standard. I'm going to scroll down to a wee bit further, and what we get into some insights. So this just now, I've got Ace Inventory. It's a quick access to it, and I can drill down to see, well, over 120 days what the inventory costs are. And again, there's just different charts in here. I've got sales trends. I'm trying another one. Top 5, customers. You can drill down, and it'll take you to that customer and into that card. My favourite accounts. So again, if you've got different GL accounts you've got access to, you can drop in your different accounts. It just means you have quick access, so I can say, okay, I've got a balance of 10,001 buildings. Can I see that? And I'll just drill down into that account for you, so you can interrogate the GL. Now, one interesting feature within Business Central SaaS is Power BI. Now, Power BI is a Microsoft product which allows you to visualize data from within Business Central. So just now, those who move to SaaS, what you're seeing here, this is part of the SaaS system. You get a free license where you can write reports. It has a built-in connector. It can connect to Power BI, and you can present the reports and give access to different users within here. And those who decide that they're not going SaaS and stay on premise, you can still write these reports, but they're not embedded. You can write them out with Business Central and still show them in Power BI. So this is a quick example here. So if I just expand this one. So what am I doing here? So this is basically a report I've written, and it's a KPI report. So it's using GL, and it's just using different categories, and it's just splitting different years and showing me different values, and it just charts it. What happens is that I've set the system so that every night this report refreshes. So every day I come in, if there's been changes, it's up to date. And there's different tabs at the bottom. On this example report, as I said, you can write reports to, there's a whole load of different ones we've created, but in this example, I've got sales analysis. So for instance, this is showing you some demographic sales by area, North East, London, the salesperson, the dates of sale, the customer. And what you can do is when you, I'm just going to slide this bar to change the dates, and what you'll notice is that the data changes. Because what it's doing now, it's using business intelligence to extract just the data and the filters you're looking for, to then represent that in a nice graphical format. It's nice and easy to look at. I've got this one, product sales, this tab. So this is an interesting one where what I've put in is a heat map. So this is obviously the UK, this is different products by profit margin, the types of products, the types of where I've got my sales from. And let's look at 2019. And you can just see how quickly there, see that it changed. If I look at the salesperson, what we notice is that it's now showing me where the sales were for that salesperson. So it's actually a heat map and showing you where the sales have been made. Again, it's most likely we'd never need that. It's just showing you what it can do with just the integration in the Power BI. So there's lots of different reports you can create. I'll not go through them all, but it's just to give you an idea, a flavour of the integration with the other Microsoft products which are coming standard. And lastly, I've got my reporting box. So again, if you don't have this in your current version of Nav, you can create reports, you can schedule reports. So every Monday morning, your balance sheet, age accounts receivable, whatever report it is, automatically appears here. You don't have to run reports manually; they just appear here on a scheduled time basis, and you can obviously go in and look at them as required. So this is how Business Central looks, but this is how it looks for the business manager and the permissions that this business manager has been given, that user. I'm just going to change business manager to, let's say, a sales and relationship manager. So if I had this role, how would Business Central look? So again, change the role, I'll refresh the screen, and what you should find is that it now looks different. Because what it's now doing is saying, okay, you're a sales and relationship manager, you're interested in opportunities and quotes and customers and segmenting data and doing campaigns. So there's all my, now it's changed the tiles to my contacts, opportunities I've got open, and the charts now changed to sales pipeline charts, and look at opportunity charts. I can still harness Power BI for one. So and with these screens as well, and those who do any personalization in Nav, you still have that personalize option. So I can, as you see here, it's now highlighted in red where I can hide things, I can move things, I can change how the screen looks. If you give the users permission to do this, because you don't have to give them permission, you can stop this access if you wish. Okay, to show you sort of a lot of the sort of different roles, if I click on this button here, this wee sort of hamburger button, it will show you the role of the sales and relationship manager, because that's where I'm in. If I click on explore more roles, you'll see that there's all these different roles where you can drill down. You can actually navigate from here if you wanted to, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay, so that was sort of a look and feel of what and just a wee bit of extra functionality that Business Central offers. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to change my settings back to Business Manager. I'm just going to look at a wee bit of integration into Excel. So now what I'm going to show you here works for the SaaS product. Now you can do similar things on on-premise, but it doesn't quite work like this. So let's see, I'm going to go to my vendors. I'm just going to change my tile to a list. Now, data continually gets out of date. Things have to be changed. It might be that email addresses are wrong or things have to be updated, and there's data cleansing required. what this version of Business Central allows you to do is edit data in Excel and push it back from Excel straight back into Business Central. So I'm just going to show you that. Basically what I've said is I want to edit this data. So what's it going to do? It's going to open up my Excel. I'm just going to click enable. And what it's going to do, it's going to basically try and make sure it authenticates me, because you don't want anyone doing this. So I've got the rights to do it. I've already pre-logged in. So it's just going to double check that, yep, I can do all this. And what it's now doing is it's showing me the data which was sitting inside Business Central. Now, what it's not going to allow me to do is change anything which is integral to the system. I couldn't possibly change the balance of vendor because those are made up by transactions. But what I could do is maybe change email addresses or telephone numbers, whatever it is. But what I'm going to do is a quick example. I'm just going to, just to show you, I'm just going to add on the word kit test to that vendor's name. I'm just going to publish. And what you'll notice that it just quickly says, okay, uploaded. If I just close, I don't need this now. And if I just refresh my screen, what you should notice is that that data has been changed. And there it is there. So the power of taking data, and you could take most data from customers, vendors, items, and you can even do it with journals, export journals to Excel, amend them and push them back in before you post them. So you can actually do your journals in Excel now. So that's the integration into other products such as Excel. It has integration into Outlook as well. Now I'm going to let my colleague Elise show that, because typically I didn't set mine up. So Elise will show that on the next in a few minutes. One interesting thing it has as well is Teams. Collaboration is quite important nowadays. People working remotely, different areas, and they want to collaborate in Teams. All these screens can be shared in Teams. So you can share stock items and details and all types of things. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my Teams. And what I've got is just this is an example, is I've installed a Business Central app just down here. And I've set mine up to search for contacts. So within Teams, I'm now interrogating Business Central, interrogating a contact. I'm going to pick this one, Evan McIntosh. And what you'll notice is that, oh, it's a picture of myself, it's come up. It's now picking that up in Teams and showing me that. And I can then click in details, and it's actually going to then start going into Business Central from a Teams screen. And it's now going to share that data to those on the Teams call. So the integration to Teams, this is just this is fairly new-ish. So Microsoft are when these upgrades are done, new functionality is brought in, there's more and more of this functionality which is enhanced. So just now, yeah, it can do stock items, contact cards, all that type of thing. But this will just be forever improving the integration into other products. Okay. So, and as I said, there is another integration into Outlook. In terms of the screens, just to show you before I finish off and pass you over to my colleague Elish, if I looked at customers, went into a customer card, let's go into this one. It's just show you some familiarity. The customer card, a lot of this will be familiar to you in terms of, you know, there's the number, the balance, you can drill down, price and discounts, I can navigate, I can do approvals, I can create new documents. If I look at the vendors, again, there's a list of all my vendors. I can again drill down into this one, custom metals. I can look at the balance. This one doesn't have a balance. Again, you can navigate dimensions and ledger entries. So a lot of functionality is familiar. As I said, there is quite a few new features. Now, when we speaking about updates twice a year, 2 major updates. This is just an example. There's from the versions of Nav right through to Business Central, there's hundreds of updates, hundreds of new features. Some you will make use of, some, you know, depending on the customer's business, they may not. But this is just an example to show you that these features landed in April this year. So for instance, there's walking of GL accounts, walking of back posting setups, the new bank account statement reports, consolidation of customer and vendor balances, that's for sort of fixed quantities and bill materials, the new reports that connect to Shopify now, so that you can have a developer now connect Business Central to Shopify. There's new updates to Outlook, enhancements to Teams, which we're just talking about there. So there's lots of new stuff which comes through. One of the things that a customer said to me, well, it's just the same as Navision. Well, process-wise, yes, because that familiarity is there, but it's not quite the same because there is an awful lot in here. It's just trying to find what you need. Okay, so I think that's my time up. I think hopefully that's been enough to give you some sort of vision on what Business Central is and where it's going for the SaaS product. And I'll hand you back over to Aileen.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, just go back to me. Hopefully everyone can see my screen there. I think, Lee, is there anything else you want to manage about the functionality there, Lee, or will we just sort of move on? I think you highlighted some of these things already.
Yeah. This screen just shows you, you know, a list of just some. There's so many, you can list them all, but some of these things here for, you know, just so that the users can see that they might think, okay, MTD also is one of the main ones, right through to longer descriptions and reversing journals and things. So yeah.
Great, fantastic. And then I think we're handing over to Eilish now, just to go over the upgrade options and things available. So thanks, Eilish.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, everyone. I'm just going to cover off the options around upgrading and focus on these few points here. Your options around the cloud versus on-prem, the licensing changes, some of the incentives that Microsoft have for upgrading, and your mods and your add-ons when upgrading. I think you'll need to click on from Aileen.
That's it, yep.
Great. So as we've touched on already, there's two options when upgrading from Navision. You have the option to either go onto the cloud or to remain on-premise. Both of the versions are very similar to what Lee has just showed you. He showed you the SaaS version, but both options are both URL based. The cloud is hosted on Microsoft's Azure, and the on-premise version is hosted either internally on your own infrastructure, or there is the option to privately host that. With the SaaS version, as we've already touched upon, there's automatic updates that come via the cloud. So you're on an evergreen solution. There's no need to upgrade again as you're getting the automatic updates. The SaaS option is a software as a service. So you're paying a subscription license, which is different to what you're used to with Navision. The on-premise version, it remains your perpetual licensing, and the updates are not automatic because obviously the data is hosted by you, so you would have to go through another kind of significant upgrade periodically to remain on the up-to-date versions. If you could click on, please. So yes, the licensing is significantly different between what you're used to at the moment and with Business Central. So when you move on to Business Central, the licensing becomes named licensing as opposed to what you've got now, which is concurrent licenses. So every single user that accesses Business Central, be it on-prem or in the cloud, will require their own individual named license. And that comes back to the kind of Dynamics ecosystem, because your normal Windows login, so your Outlook login, your Excel login, your Office 365 login, that then also becomes your Business Central login as well, because it's all linked through the 365 platform. So that's a bit of a change to the licensing With Business Central, there's 3 different license types. As you can see here, there's the Essentials, Premium and Team Member. The Essentials license is all of your fundamental functionality, so your finances, your sales and order processing, your stock management. With the Premium license, that offers a bit of enhanced functionality, so that's pertinent to our customers that are using things like manufacturing or service management. But 90% of the kit customers will be on the Essentials license. And then there's a third option for a Team Member license, which is a light user, with a number of customers using that for things like read-only access for people that just want to go in and run reports or look at the Power BI dashboards like Lee had showed you. The Team Member licenses are also great for approvers. So if you're using the workflows available in Business Central, team members can approve purchase orders and things like that. So those users are a lot cheaper, but a lot more limited access. So I tend to find that users, customers are taking a mixture of users with some either Essentials or Premium, and then with some team members to make up those light users. As I touched on, the SaaS is a subscription license. So as part of that fee, as Aileen mentioned, the fee covers all of your hosting of the data, your backups, your security, those automatic updates that we're mentioning, and obviously all of that is managed by Microsoft. So you've got that peace of mind that it's a really high level security, and all of the technology that you're using is obviously the most up to date. With your on-premise, you remain on your current annual license, so it'll be what you're used to in terms of you pay your annual enhancement fee once a year, and your support, and that remains the same as the on-premise division as you're used to now. If you click on, please. Okay, so the upgrade incentives at the moment that Microsoft are offering to try and encourage people to upgrade and get onto the newer technology. With the SaaS, the option, the customers are available to this 40% discount. So the standard SKU price is discounted by 40% for the first 3 years of your SaaS contract. So that means that you're only paying 60% of the price, and that offer is on for the first 36 months of your contract. With the on-premise option, due to the change in the licensing of everything turning to named users, Microsoft are offering 3 named users for every 1 concurrent user you have at the moment. So if you have 10 concurrents at the moment, Microsoft will give you 30 named users, and that will be for the same price as what you pay now for your annual enhancement. However, with that on-premise offer, I think Microsoft are having that deprecated this year because they are encouraging everybody to go on to the SaaS option, the cloud first option, just because of the extra benefits you get with the automatic updates and the Microsoft, guaranteed security and hosting and everything. So that's your 2 options for the on-premise and the SaaS. So a lot of our customers, well, probably majority of them, are using a number or one of Microsoft's approved add-ons. So whether that be Continua, whether that be Jet Reports, Spindle, Mobile Nav, or one of our Kik add-ons there, Constructa, Sub-Billing, or Payroll. All of these add-ons will be available to you in the same form or in an alternative when you move to Business Central. However, as I've mentioned with the licensing, there is also licensing changes to the add-ons. So depending on what option you decide to go for, be that SaaS, on-premise, and whether you decide to continue to use the add-ons into the upgrade, would be dependent on what option you go for here. However, if you did decide to have a look at the add-ons, then we would discuss all the upgrades. Sorry, we would discuss all the add-ons at that point in time, but be aware that they all are available to you still, as are all of your modifications that you have now in your current nav system. And just to quickly touch on our upgrade methodology. So here at Kik, we have a project management team, and if you were to go for an upgrade, you would have your own dedicated project manager who would work through this what we call PQuest style implementation. And from the beginning, we scope out your upgrade to ensure that when you move to Business Central, you're getting the most out of the upgrade as you possibly can. And we look at what you're doing now and how we can make that the most efficient move onto Business Central. After we've scoped all that, we get your sign off that you're happy to proceed based on our findings and recommendations. We then go through the other steps of this process with familiarisation and design of the Business Central based on your requirements. We do the deployment, the build, and then we ask for you to do testing and training on the new system. We can migrate all of your data from Navision onto Business Central, and then we'll support you with the live running of the system, and obviously into the future as we do now with your nav system. So that's a wee bit about our kind of process to bring you onto Business Central.
Okay,
that's me.
And thanks
very
much
Aileen.
for that. Thanks, Eilish. And we just wanted to take this opportunity, and we thought it might be helpful to make sure that everyone knows that KIC have 4 divisions. So we actually have a dedicated communications division as well as a technical division. So with moving to the cloud, it's important that customers have good internet connectivity, and we have lots of experienced staff and people here to help. So if you'd like any advice at all on broadband connections, Wi-Fi, mobile phones, or any other kind of IT help and advice that you need, then we certainly can cover off any of that as well, and we'd be delighted to help. So I think we're just pretty much bang on time now. So looking at questions, we've had a couple of questions come through. So one of the questions that we have is, will I still have access to my old data if I upgrade? So maybe you could help explain that one, Eilish, if that's okay.
Yeah, so with the data migration, there's one of 2 options. We have some customers that prefer to go into Business Central and treat it as a kind of re-implementation and fresh start, where we can bring over your static data like your customers, your suppliers, your stock items, and then bring over some opening balances. However, there is also the option to bring over all of your historical data if you choose to do so. It just depends on your preference, but both are an option.
Okay, great, thanks Eilish. And another question, does it work on Android or Apple phones, or both?
Yes, it works on both. There is a mobile app available for Business Central, so you can download that onto an Android or an Apple device, be that a phone or a tablet. However, as the system is URL based, you can log on any internet enabled device, provided that you've got an internet connection. So you can use like the likes of Safari or Chrome on any device to log in and use the system.
Super. And I think that was all the questions we had. And as I say, kind of pretty much bang on time there. So just like to say thank you very much indeed for attending, everyone. We appreciate your time. We hope that was useful for you. And if you have any questions at all, you want to have a look at the system again, then please do reach out to either myself, Lee, or Eilish, and we'd be absolutely delighted to go through anything that you want to go through, and give you any other further advice at all. Okay, so that's great. Thanks again, everyone, for your time. Bye.
Thanks.